Hello and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Millie, and on this channel I talk about yarn. I talk about knitting and crochet. I share my works in progress, my finished objects, yarn hauls, and I have a few knitting tutorials. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. And if you're here for the first time, welcome. Today, I want to share with you my small yarn haul from the DFW Fiberfest, which was, I think, the weekend of September 21st, I believe. And the DFW Fiberfest happens every year. And I try to go every year, but I'm not always successful. Last year, I wasn't able to go. And this year, I was only able to go on a Sunday because I was working on Saturday. So I was able to get there at about noon, and the place was already swamped. I actually had to park at the top floor in the sun, and it was really hot that day. But anyhow, I was able to get in there and walk around and look at different things and meet different people. And it was a fun time. But my plan, so when I planned to go to the Fiberfest, my plan was to find a sweater quantity of DK weight or worsted weight yarn that was going to be a blend of Merino and some nylon, so that I can make a sweater that I am planning to make for the fall, or at least I'm planning to knit a sweater for myself, and I have the pattern ready. And so I was looking for a neutral color, and I wasn't able to find what I was looking for, but I ended up buying other things. And I don't know if it's because that was the last day of the Fiberfest, but I felt like I didn't find so many choices for a neutral color. There was more of variegated tonals, and I still was able to find something, and that is what I'm going to share with you today. So I was able to find some yarn, and I also bought a book, which I'm excited about, and I'm going to show you that, but I'm going to start with the yarn. And this is my little yarn haul in here, and it's from different vendors, but I put it all in this bag here to show you. And I'm gonna start with the yarn. I'm actually excited with all my purchases, but this is the one that I am really super excited about. And I've never bought anything from this vendor before. The name is Apothefaery Fiber. I mean, I can read this name, obviously, but I'm gonna leave anything that I talk about, I'm gonna leave all the details in the description below and all the information. But this is the yarn that I'm really excited about. And this is a fingering weight, and it's a high twist. That's what it says, it's a high twist. And this is a blend of linen and merino. And it's 90%, I believe 90% merino and 10% linen. And this is a 100-gram skein, and there's 398 yards. And this yarn is machine washable, machine dry to damp, and it's a fingering weight. So it's a sock yarn. But the reason that I decided to buy this yarn was this vendor had a sample of a t-shirt that she had knitted with this yarn. And I believe she had this exact color, and it looked so beautiful. And she, when I talked to her a little bit about it, I just was sold on this yarn. So I decided to get 3. I believe that 2 are enough to make a t-shirt, and I don't have a pattern yet, so I'm going to be looking for a pattern to knit this. But I decided to get 3 just to be on the safe side in case I decide to try and make a pullover out of it, or maybe a 3/4 sleeve type of sweater. So that's why I decided to buy 3, because I didn't want to have the risk of running out. And so that is my first purchase, which I really like. And I don't know if there's a color name here. I don't see a color name, and it says Belgium linen, but it's really high twist, and so it looks really nice. Let me see if I can show you a closer. But I'm just excited to have this yarn, and I'm trying to stay focused on what I'm working on currently, so that I can cake these and start working on a lightweight sweater, or like a short-sleeved pullover t-shirt, something, because obviously there's not enough to make a cardigan, but there's enough to make a t-shirt. So that is my first buy. And then I kind of have some vendors that I keep going back to whenever I go to the Fiberfest, and that's what I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna get everything out of the bag so that I can show you nicely. So I always go back to Stunning String Studio. And so I got this yarn. I wanted something sparkly because I can combine this with a regular yarn on a shawl, and the sparkle adds a very nice touch. And so that is why I went and bought this. And initially I was just gonna get this one skein, and then I decided to get this neutral skein. And this is the name of the yarn is Twinkle, and it's a 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% silver stellina, which is the sparkly stuff that you see. And this is 435 yards. And so this is 100 grams, and it's a gentle wash, dry, flat. So this I'm just gonna put in my my stash. But I was thinking that I have some other yarn that is not sparkly that I was thinking of combining and making a shawl. And I was also thinking of using these in the calf and toes for some socks that I'm planning on making. But I also have like a lot of variegated yarn, and I was thinking that I would use this as a contrast color when I knit a shawl. So I got 2 of these, and these are fingering weight. And I don't know if there's a color in here. So this is charcoal, and this is Twinkle. That's the name of this one. So I got the 2 of those 2. And then I was looking for a sock yarn. I always look for at least one skein for socks. And I found this vendor here, and this is RW Custom Yarn, and it's from Oklahoma. And this is also another fingering weight, and it's merino and nylon, and it's 85% merino, 15% nylon, and it's a sock yarn, and there's 437 yards. And these are going to be some socks that I'm gonna make for myself. And I think I'm going to look for like a black for the toes. And I'm working on a pair of socks right now, and I think that as soon as I am done with that pair that I'm currently working on, I'm going to cake these and cast on some socks for me, because I'm thinking I want to make myself a nice pair of socks for my birthday, and it's coming up in November. And so this is what I'm going to be using. And the color name here is called Petunia. So that's what it looks like. And the next yarn that I bought is from another vendor that I always go back to because I like her yarn, and it's called Passion Yarn, and this is what it looks like. And I got 3 skeins, so 2 of purple and 1 is like a blue, and I'm planning to make a hat with this one. And then for these 2, I have a speckled yarn that has some purple in it, and I'm planning to knit or crochet a rectangular shawl. At this point, I'm not sure which one I'm gonna do, but it's gonna be like a rectangular shawl that I can throw around my shoulders, and I wanna use the speckled yarn together with this. And this is a DK weight yarn, and it's a 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon, and it comes in 245 yards, and this is 100 grams. And this colorway is called Grape Juice, and I'm going to just stripe the yarn, stripe the shawl with the speckled, and then add some of these. And I believe I have about, I think I have another 2 skeins of this, and so that's how I'm gonna mix it. And then this one is called Hyacinth, and I'm going to knit a hat with this one. And I know that I have some leftover, but I'm also collecting leftover yarn because I'm planning to work on one of those scrappy blankets that I've seen on Ravelry. And I've never made a merino wool blanket, and I'm gathering my yarn so that I can make one of those. And that is why I also bought these mini skeins. So every time I go to the Fiberfest, I collect a couple of mini skeins. And also when I work on a project and I have a leftover, I put them in one spot so that eventually I am going to make a blanket. And I am thinking of making either the Cozy Comfort Throw, which is made out of a DK weight, or either the Coziest Memory blanket, but that one is made out of a fingering weight. But I don't see myself knitting a blanket in fingering weight. So what I'm gonna do is, whichever I decide to knit, I'm gonna either use a DK weight, or I'm gonna hold a DK weight with a fingering weight so that it can be thicker and it can go faster. But so I have a few of these that I've been collecting over the years, and these ones were a very good price. They were going for $5, and there's 92 yards and 75% merino, 25% nylon, and these ones are fingering weight. And this is emerald green, and this is forest green. So I'm just gonna throw these into my pile of whatever other leftovers that I have, and then eventually maybe next year I'll start one of those blankets, but right now I'm just collecting. And then from these, if you shop from her, you always get like a cute stitch marker or progress keeper, and that's what I got. I got 2 of those because at first I just bought the mini skeins, and then I walked around, and then I decided to go back and buy this DK weight. So I got 2 of those progress keepers, which I'm gonna use on my knitting. And then the last thing that I bought was an impulse buy, which wasn't in my plan at all. So I got myself the Tunisian Crochet Handbook by Tony Lipsy. So I was walking around just minding my business and looking at different booths, and I looked on the side and I saw Tony and her mom sitting right there, and I was shocked. I think this year I didn't do my research to see who was going to be at the Fiberfest, but Tony was sitting there signing books, and so it was so exciting. So I've always wanted to learn Tunisian crochet, and I'm just lazy starting it, and so I decided that I decided to buy this book, and it was signed. She signed it for me, and I took a picture with her. I'm gonna decide if I'm gonna insert it over here for you to see. But it was so exciting, and I was thinking to myself, if all I did was meet Tony and get a picture with her, then that was worth going to the Fiberfest. And I think that I've already identified the project. I know just a little bit of Tunisian crochet, but I don't think it's that hard because I already know how to crochet. So I think I'm gonna start with this project over here. It's a scarf. So I think I looked in here and I'm thinking that that's gonna be my first project because I have a bunch of yarn that I wanna use for making scarves. Plus a scarf always comes in handy, and it's gonna be cold soon, and so I think that's what I'm gonna do. And I have a lot of fingering weight in my stash that's just, it doesn't have which I haven't really decided what I'm gonna do with it, and I'm thinking that I'm gonna go look through and find something that would make a nice scarf. I also saw like some washcloths in here, or pot holders, and since I'm always making washcloths, I think I probably might start with one of these small projects, so that once I get the hang of it, then I'm gonna go and work on a scarf. And I don't know if I can find the pot holder, but it's in here somewhere. I think these are kitchen towels. Let me see. Yeah, Empire tea towels, and this is what they look like. I think they are also a good project to start with. And I haven't really studied this book to see if these are made out of a cotton yarn. Yes, these are made out of 100% cotton, and it's a DK weight, but I'm just gonna use what I have. I have a lot of, I love this cotton from Hobby Lobby, so I'm just gonna do mine with what I have in my stash. And I have a lot of this color, and I'm sure that I have something that would go good with them. So that is my little yarn haul from the DFW Fiberfest. But I also wanted to show you one finished project that I am so excited about. And I have shown you a little bit of the progress with it. And so I was working on this huge granny square blanket, and I'm gonna leave all the details in the description. And I'm also going to take a nice picture of this blanket and leave it here on the side so that you can see it clearly. But I finally finished my humongous granny square that turned into a blanket on purpose. And this is a free pattern by Pao Soho. And I am so happy with how it turned out. And it feels so good covering my feet with this when I'm sitting on the sofa. So I'm gonna leave a full picture of it here so that you can see what it looks like. So that is all I have for you today. Leave a comment below and let me know what you're working on, and whether you are knitting or you're crocheting. I hope that you are having a wonderful time. And until next time, happy knitting and happy crocheting.